Here's the truth, Bears fans. A brand new mock draft just dropped, and it could quietly reshape the future of Chicago's defense. One edge rusher, one ballhawk safety, and a front office moment that could finally get this rebuild right. This might be the cleanest two-round blueprint the Bears have seen in a long time. Before we jump in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a single Bears update during draft season. Now let me ask you something right away, and be honest with yourself for a second. Are the Chicago Bears finally building a defense the right way, or are they still chasing fixes instead of foundations? A new two-round NFL mock draft from respected draft analyst Matt Miller just came out, and when you look at how the board falls for Chicago, it paints a very clear picture of what this front office is trying to become. And it all starts at pick number 25. After watching the board unfold and seeing several pass rushers, corners, and offensive skill players fly off the board, Chicago ends up sitting in a very realistic range. Nothing wild. Nothing desperate. Just a clean spot to take a real football player who fits what this team actually needs. With the 25th overall pick, the Bears select Zion Young, the edge rusher out of Missouri. And this pick tells you almost everything you need to know about how General Manager Ryan Poles is thinking. This is not a flashy speed rusher. This is not a boom or bust lottery ticket. This is a physical, long, powerful defensive end who plays real football in real trenches. Young comes in at around 6'5" and roughly 262 pounds, and his game is built on leverage, strength, and control at the point of attack. He had a strong week at the Senior Bowl and put together a very productive season in the SEC, which still matters when you're projecting players to Sundays. He's a three-down edge defender. He can set the edge. He can hold his ground in the run game. And he doesn't disappear when offenses decide to run right at him. But let's be honest, this is not a pure speed demon off the edge. His best trait as a pass rusher right now is his long arm move. He uses length and power to walk tackles back into the pocket. He collapses space. He forces quarterbacks to move. What he does not yet have is a polished secondary pass rush plan. He wins with strength. He wins with effort. He wins with physical tools. What he still needs is refinement. That's why this pick feels very intentional. The Bears are not asking Zion Young to come in and be the entire pass rush. They are asking him to be the other side of Montez Sweat. And yes, that name matters. Because when you already have a reliable, physical edge presence in Montez Sweat, you don't need to gamble on a lightweight speed rusher who disappears against the run. You need someone who can help you survive on early downs and still grow into something more. Young fits that perfectly. He profiles cleanly as a strong side defensive end in a 4-3 front. He's built for the type of defensive structure Dennis Allen prefers: big, tough, versatile defenders who can hold their assignments and still attack. This is a plug-and-play run defender from day one. The real conversation is about his ceiling. If his pass rush toolbox expands, if the coaching staff helps him develop counters, if he learns how to win more efficiently instead of simply overpowering college tackles, then you start talking about a player who could consistently live in the 6 to 10 sack range while giving you elite run defense on the edge. And at pick 25, that's value. That's not chasing a superstar. That's building a functional defensive front. And that matters more than people want to admit. This is the type of player who lets the rest of your defense breathe. Now here's the part of the conversation that really matters. The Bears do not have to rush him into being the primary pass rusher. In fact, the smart path would be rotating him alongside Montez Sweat and Austin Booker, while still leaving the door open for a short-term veteran signing in free agency, someone like Khalil Mack or Trey Hendrickson on a one-year deal to stabilize the room. That gives you 4 edge rushers you actually trust. It buys development time. It prevents forcing Young into a role he isn't fully ready for yet. And that is how good teams protect their draft picks. Now before we move on, let's put a real debate on the table. Here is today's question of the day, and I want you to drop your answer in the comments below. Would you rather draft a safer, high-floor edge defender like Zion Young at 25, or would you gamble on a higher ceiling, pure pass rusher even if it comes with serious risk? Because this choice defines the identity of your defense for years. Now let's move to the second round. At pick 57, Chicago turns its attention to the secondary and selects A.J. Hooley, the safety out of LSU. And this is where the mock draft quietly gets very interesting. The Bears need more playmakers on defense. That is not a debate. That is a reality. With Jaquan Brisker approaching free agency, and the future of the safety room far from guaranteed, the Bears have to start planning now, not later. A.J. Haulcy brings something this defense clearly values: ball production. 8 interceptions over the last 2 seasons is not an accident. It's not luck. It's anticipation, range, and comfort playing the football. He is built at around 220 pounds, so he is not afraid to step into the box and mix it up in the run game. But what separates him is that he can also play in space. He can drop deep. He can rotate late. He can handle tight ends in the slot. He can disguise coverage. That versatility fits exactly what Dennis Allen wants in his defensive backs. This is not a one-role safety. This is a movable chess piece. And in today's NFL, that matters more than raw hitting power. Another important detail here is scheme fit. Some prospects look good on paper but only fit one system. Haulcy feels like one of those players who will be graded very differently across teams depending on what they ask their safeties to do. In Chicago, his ability to play multiple roles makes him far more valuable. He can grow into the structure. He can learn multiple alignments. He can be deployed creatively. Now let's address the comparison everyone will immediately make. Is A.J. Haulcy better than Jaquan Brisker right now? No. Not today. But his coverage upside is higher. Brisker is more comfortable attacking downhill and playing closer to the line of scrimmage. Haulcy offers more range and ball skills in the deeper portions of the field. And that matters when you consider what this defense has become. Takeaways were a calling card for Chicago last season. The Bears created turnovers. They flipped possessions. They stole games. And if you're serious about sustaining that identity, you don't stop drafting players who can find the football. Now imagine this for a moment. Kevin Byard, assuming the Bears bring him back, becomes the steady veteran presence. Haulcy becomes the developing playmaker next to him. A young safety who can learn coverage responsibilities, disguise rotations, and improve his angles with an experienced partner guiding him. That's how second-round picks turn into real starters. Not through panic. Through patience. And that leads to a much bigger question about the roster itself. If the Bears allow Brisker to walk, and the front office clearly prepares for that possibility, drafting a safety early becomes almost unavoidable. You cannot walk into next season hoping you'll solve that spot later. You have to invest. This mock draft recognizes that. Now let me ask you one more question, and this one cuts right to the heart of how Bears fans feel about this rebuild. If Chicago leaves the first 2 rounds with a run-stopping edge defender and a ball-hawking safety, does that finally feel like a real defensive foundation? Because for the first time in a long time, this approach feels disciplined. It feels patient. It feels intentional. You're not chasing headlines. You're stacking functional starters. You're building a front that can survive on early downs. You're building a secondary that can take the football away. You're protecting young players by surrounding them with structure. And when you step back and look at both selections together, the picture becomes very clear. Zion Young stabilizes the edge opposite Montez Sweat and gives Chicago a dependable run defender who still has room to grow as a rusher. A.J. Haulcy injects range, versatility, and turnover potential into a secondary that will soon need fresh blood. That combination checks 2 of the most important boxes for this roster. Defensive line depth. Defensive playmakers. Right now, in early February, this 2-round mock feels like a strong grade. Not perfect. Not flashy. But very smart. It fits the coaching staff. It fits the defensive scheme. It fits the long-term roster plan. And most importantly, it avoids forcing desperation picks later. Because that is how rebuilds collapse. This is how rebuilds stabilize. If you asked me to grade this 2-round haul today, I would give it a solid A. Not because it guarantees stars, but because it gives Chicago reliable building blocks at 2 positions that quietly determine whether your defense survives or sinks. Now it's your turn. Drop your letter grade in the comments, A, B, C, D, or F. And tell me exactly what you would change if you were sitting in the Bears draft room.